Once again, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Minister and representative of the Executive Director for Kampala City Authority and your team. My name is Bashasha Willis. I'm the Director Manifesto at the Presidency, and on behalf of the Ministry for Presidency, which supervises the monitoring of the Manifesto implementation, I take pleasure to welcome you and thank you for coming to share with the country on the status of the Manifesto performance and other related commitments in the ministry that you head. First of all, we want to welcome you as our own, because you are part of the presidency, and viewers wherever you are, the Minister of Kampala City and Metropolitan Affairs oversees the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area, and as the Minister will be taking us through the mandate, a number of commitments were put in the manifesto, which were meant to see how the city can be part and parcel of the country's transformation agenda. So, Honorable Minister, I don't need to take you deep into the background to this because you are a member of Cabinet, and we want to thank you for supporting my minister during the paper that was meant to initiate this activity. Traditionally, this week is meant to bring to the attention of the country the status of performance on the social contract that we have with Ugandans. And this social contract had many commitments, and these commitments are shared across different MDAs of government. Today we are happy to have you as the Minister of Kampala and Metropolitan Affairs to share with us the achievements on the same and milestones on the same journey. Honorable Minister, this is not a rally, this is not a baraza, but we are using technology. We are using technology as a medium through which we can disseminate the information given here to reach to the citizens. So, Ugandans, wherever they are, and the viewers can still enjoy the viewership of what is going on here by listening and watching without necessarily gathering in here. So, with your presentation, after your presentation, there will be observations from the unit, and then we will also invite the media for a Q&A, of which after you will be invited back to respond, and then you are also at liberty to invite any of your technical teams to come and support you in the responses, especially in areas where they are more, they have more expertise. So, with that brief, allow me now to take this singular honor and pleasure to invite you here and address the country on the status of how we have moved in this area of Kampala City and metropolitan areas or affairs. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Please receive the Honorable Minister.
I thank you very much, Mr. Bachaisha. You already introduced me. I'm Hajat Mr. Kavana, the Minister for Kampala Capital City Authority and the Metropolitan Affairs. And I'm happy to tell you that we are going to talk about the implementation progress of NRA Manifesto and Presidential Strategic Directives. The introduction. The mandate of the Ministry of Kampala Capital City and the Metropolitan Affairs is derived from Article 4 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, and this was rationalized by Section 21 and 79 of Kampala Capital City Act 2010, as mandated that, as amended, that gave the ministry a mandate of policy and oversight over the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Affair, coordination of the development and provision of proper physical planning in the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area, that is GKMA, that covers the jurisdiction of Kampala Capital City under KCCA, the districts of Mpigi, Mukono and Wakiso, and their respective urban authorities of Nansana, Chira, Machindi, Savagabo, Mukono, and Entebbe. The mandate of the ministry was expanded under Cabinet Minute 132, CT 2020, to include coordination of implementation of the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area Economic Development Strategy 2020-2030. Our vision and mission and strategic objectives. The vision is efficient and all-inclusive quality services delivery in metropolitan area. The mission is to ensure inclusive policy, oversight, and integrated quality urban service delivery to metropolitan area. Our objective is to coordinate formulation of policies for sustainable transformation of Kampala Capital City and the metropolitan area. 2 is to coordinate and implement local economic development in the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area. Number 3 is to ensure government policies, progress and projects in the metropolitan area are monitored and evaluated. 4 is to facilitate organized land use management and spatial planning for sustainable urban development in the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area, that is GKMA. Composition of the presentation. This presentation will look at both the manifesto commitments in Kampala Capital City Authority and the metropolitan area. Our commitments in this manifesto commitments for KCC include manifesto for KCCA and metropolitan area. 1 is to solve the problem of traffic and congestion by using a rapid bus transit system, light rail system, flyovers, development. Number 2 is to increase the budget for roads and other infrastructure projects within the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area to improve connectivity and overall urban development. Number 3 is rehabilitation of existing paved roads and construction of 4 street bridges, 3 for pedestrians and 1 key bridge for vehicles. Number 4 is reconfigure and signalize several junctions in the city, including Natete, Nakawa, Wandegeya Jinja Road, Lugogo Bypass, Upper Kololo, Lugogo Bypass, Nakuru Road and Upper Kololo, Wampeo, Makerere Hill, Yusuf Le Road, Fairway Hotel and Hoima Road, that is Bakuli and Inakulari. Manifesto commitments contained. Number 5, implement projects to improve drainage in Rubaga, Central, Machindi and Nakawa divisions. Number 6 is street lighting in Kampala. Number 7, connection. And with that, I call upon the technical person from KCCA to continue with the presentation. I thank you.
Thank you, the Honorable Minister, Director, Manifesto Implementation. Mr. Bashasha, staff from the Ministry of Kampala, KCCA, the Manifesto Implementation Unit, the media, good morning. I thank you, and to this end, we note that the authority is committed to implementation of the aspirations and also the commitments therein, the 23 presidential directives therein that were issued by His Excellency, the President, within the wider perspective of the city. Within these commitments, we note that the number of pledges which had been provided for, but very critical, like the Honorable Minister has already indicated. The first one was about solving the problem of traffic congestion in the city. And this was to be done by using the rapid bus system, light rail, flyovers, pedestrian walkways, and also handling the border and also provision of the bus lanes. We note that the implementation progress itself, we note that we had the inventory of the border exercise concluded, and also the respective areas gazetted in form of stages. This eventually is aimed at streamlining and also improving the traffic flow. At the same time, installation of the signage for border stages for Makindi and Central Division also had been completed by the end of last financial year. But this also requires a legal framework. And as an institution, we are moving towards having the ordinance to manage this public transport also put in place. So currently, as an institution, we are putting together the ordinance to ensure that it guides us in managing the transport. The bus transit, we note that as government, we are now moving towards mass transport. And this is an area which has now been prioritized going forward in the next plan. So you see that in the NDP4, going forward, there is more focus now on mass transport. And as far as the institution is concerned, we are under the project of Kampala City Rehabilitation Project. We are working on this transit bus initiative, where the study is in its final stages of review. And that means after that, we know that this will be implemented within the forthcoming NDP4. We are all aware about the flyover, which I will not focus on most, because this is under the Uganda National Roads Authority, and also we know that the pedestrian walkway was completed at the clock tower. Secondly, there was a focus also on resource allocation on pledge number 2. So there was a requirement to increase the budget and financing for road rehabilitation, but majorly maintenance. As we also note that, yes, we have most of these roads here which are constructed, but we need to have resources put together towards maintenance. On the other note, we note that this maintenance budget under Uganda Road Fund, had reduced constantly for the last 2-3 financial years. Since 23-24, resources under Road Fund have reduced to 10 billion shillings from 26.81 originally, which was in 2020-21. And that again explains why some of the areas like potholes sometimes are also not amicably addressed. But there is a lot of government commitments towards infrastructure development in the city, and that's why you see a lot of increment in the budgets, especially on the construction. So you'll see money on external financing arising from the 2, for instance, projects, the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area Project, and also the Kampala City Road Rehabilitation Project. And for the current running financial year, we note that this financing is at 396 billion shillings, and this project of KCCRP is anticipated to end in 2027. And this is evidenced by the current constructions which you are seeing in the city on a number of roads. On pledge number 3, we see that there was a requirement, a pledge to rehabilitate the existing paved road network. And the plan was 90 kilometers. But by and large, you note that the city has a total road network of 2,104 kilometers. And out of this, about 37% of this road network is paved. But you also realize that the stock of our paved road network is also old, meaning it requires total overhaul. And in most cases, sometimes the kilometers don't add up because we always work on the roads which are already paved. So you see that the stock of the paved road network in most cases does not increase because we are again working on the same roads which are already dilapidated. So by and large, work is ongoing, and for instance, for the last financial year, 36.8 kilometers of these roads were added onto the road network. But also in the same manner, there are those which were also still ongoing at the time, and the construction of about 13.32 kilometers was ongoing, and 3.67 kilometers was for upgrading, and the other one was for reconstruction. That is improvement onto bitumen. Specifically, we note that it's also a period last financial year where we implemented the NAM, and more focus was also on ensuring that some of these specific areas are paved. So, for instance, 14.95 kilometers we added to the road network. Along the NAM funded projects, Government of Uganda projects, we added 13.47 kilometers. And also, since the Kampala City Road Rehabilitation Program had started, so we added 8.38 kilometers of that project. On number 3 still, we note that under this manifesto, again, 7.2 kilometers we added, but all those totaling to 32.7 kilometers. But by and large, we have 50 kilometers, which will add a total of 90. But we know that these 50 kilometers, 50.1 kilometers, have been scoped along the respective or various roads. So you'll find that within the manifesto, these roads already are are going to be reconstructed, and these have been scoped along the respective programs. We are mindful of the fact that the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area project started last financial year, but the constructions are supposed to start this financial year, noting that these require a lot of procurements, which sometimes take a long time. So here I give you a list of these roads here. You know that they were roads which were committed in the manifesto, and we show you exactly where this road here has been scoped, and some of them which are already undergoing rehabilitation or reconstruction. Bombo Road under GKMA, Bukoto Street under GKMA, and you'll see that all these have been provided, and I will not go through the list of all this because we have this information with us and has been provided. This is a list of very many roads which have been scoped and work. You'll see, and we're discussing with the PSST, and we're saying that you'll see that Kampala will become like a construction area where most of the roads are going to be reworked. We'll give you pictorials of constructions. For instance, on Suna 2 Road, on slide 22, we have reconstruction of Sentema Road, also on slide 23, which is also provided for. Pictorial Kulambiro Road, which we also finished in Akawa Division, which were tarmacked, also on pictorial on the projector. I don't know, somebody on the projector is. So the pictorials are given there. And some of the works which are ongoing, that is Suna, the next one is Sentema Roads, the other one is Kulambiro Roads, which were computed. But as a country, eventually, when you also see these constructions happening, by and large we see changes of the face. For instance, if you go to Kulambiro, This has really contributed to the livelihoods of the people, because now you even see businesses booming along those areas there. The economy at night also changes, arising from these projects. So it's not about the road itself. Sometimes when you look at the road, it is put up, street lighting comes on board, and this street lighting eventually provides security. It also provides for avenues for people to again produce and also generate more income. So by and large, we still contribute to the incomes of the population at a broader level, at a macro level. The fourth presentation was reconfiguring and also signalizing several junctions in the city. And these are a number. You can see there's Natete, Nakawa, Wandegeya, Jinja Road, Lugogo Bypass, Upper Kololo, Lugogo Bypass, Nakuru Road, Upper Kololo Wampeo, Makere Hill, Yusuf Lule Road, Fairway Hotel, Hoima. And so there are 21 junctions that were signalized and are functional. And the fortunate bit with this is that we move in these areas here and we see them, these roads. We also note that the construction as an institution, as government, is constructing a traffic control center. The building itself has been completed, but we note that this will eventually also be installed with the roadside equipment which will monitor the traffic within the city. So it is also important to note that across the city, you can easily, by and large, know how traffic is moving and where it is so much concentrated and which areas are not having traffic, so that you regulate centrally, and that's the reason for more or less this traffic control center. And for the junctions, we see that these junctions, 27 junctions, are also ongoing, and most of these are also highlighted here. So slide 27 gives us a list of junctions where work has happened. We see that the Spear Motors civil works themselves are complete. We have Catalina, who also we see that it was also completed ahead of time. It was meant to have been completed in October, like all those ones. We have Jinja Road, Nakawa, and we also give you those which are pending along that list, all those junctions. But you will also note that as a government, we are changing the face of these roundabouts. And the evidence is when you move around the city, you note that there is work happening along these respective roundabouts. For instance, if you go to Wandegeya, now you see the flow. So the idea is ensuring that there is free movement and quicker movement of vehicles to reduce traffic, and also reducing the people around. So pictorially, we give you an illustration of the junction along different areas. For instance, that is a junction at Nakawa, that is Spear Motors. The next one is at Mulago. This newly constructed roundabout also at Mulago, and most of this is happening across the city. So this was a plan in the manifesto, and we note that as government, we are moving towards implementing these critical planned initiatives, interventions within the manifesto. Number 5 is about drainage in the respective divisions of the city, Rubaga, Central, Makindye, and Nakawa. And we note that generally, you know that government, the city has both the primary drainage channels and also the secondary. The primary are those which take a very big chunk of land, of water, and the other ones are the secondary where water enters, and also several tertiary and community and roadside drains. So in total, there are about 86 kilometers, 86.3 kilometers of these drains. Some of them were scoped under respective projects. Some of them we worked on the previous second Kampala Integrated Infrastructure Development Project, which ended like the Ruby J. Although some critical challenges emanated, for instance, as government of Uganda, we are required to compensate and the compensation, when it delays, it has an impact on the project itself. So the completion of projects is hinged on also our role, especially as Ugandans. Sometimes we derail the projects and we don't want to really abide by the compensation requirements, eventually derailing service delivery. So we note that there are some areas, so far, completion of Ruvigi and Nakamero drainage channels. This was done 4.8%. Also bridge structures and also some improvement works for tertiary or community drains was also done. We give you also a list of those which have been completed, the kilometers and where. In summary, on that table, on 31, slide 31, where there was improvement works, for instance, on Ruvigi, under that KIDIP 2. Others are being done under KIDIP 1. And we gave you pictorials of some of the drains also which are done, Makai Memorial Channel, and also the silting of some of the areas. Number 6 is street lighting, and like I said, most of these are very critical, but eventually when these street lights are also put up, we also have another issue to do with having these street lights protected. The city is very big, but we also see a lot of challenges with regards to vandalism. So yes, as government, you put up street lights, but eventually there are people who come and steal batteries. So we maintain these street lights, 5,400 street lights across the city. Some of them they blow, and eventually they have to be replaced. In the process, we also upgraded 2,000 high-pressure mercury vapor to energy-efficient LEDs, upgraded solar lighting system technologies, 350 lights along Jinja Road, Kampala Road, Speak Road, and also the city square. And but we note that there is a very high. We have 42,000 which are required to be handled. So financing for this is one key critical aspect. And this eventually, we are working with the ministry and also the Ministry of Finance to see that a specific project is put in place to ensure that we enhance street lighting in Kampala. So here we also give you some pictorials on some of the street traffic signals, city traffic decongestion plans, and also those which have been handled within the city. But also we give you the status of street lighting, percentage of the network, and the central, we have 3,125, and also which is 42% of the network across both street lighting, which is on grid, but also on the solar. So by and large, 75% of this is functional across the city. 7 is markets. We see that government took over management of markets in the city, and Kampala has 84 markets in total, but of which 16 are government owned. And the management of these markets was taken on as per the presidential directive. So the infrastructure of these markets, we note that these are also old and dilapidated, requiring reconstruction. But the current project, the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area Project, has also scoped most of these markets here, and some of these markets are going to be reconstructed. And we see that these markets here, 16 of them are in the respective divisions as provided in the table, also presented there. Makinde with the Gaba Market, Namuongo 1 and 2. Central, Nakasiro, St. Balikudembe, Chiseka, Nakamocha, Usafi, Nakawa. We have Nakawa, Bukolobi, Bukotochi, Chiswa, Uzira, Chitintale, and Chinawataka. Kawempe, Wandegeya, and also Rubaga Kasubi, Usega, and Natete. So, we also need to see that in the next slide, some of the markets which have been opened, you see recently the Busega market was opened, and this inspection of this market was undertaken and it is creating 1,500 workspaces, meaning employment opportunities. But also these markets are also supposed to ensure that the city is cleaned up from these Watembes. So people should be in organized places for which we can be able to access the respective commodities, goods and services which we have provided for. So here we give you an illustration of the stalls in the newly opened Busega market. And this market eventually was completed with the help of also means of local government and also handed over to the city, KCCA. The other one is construction of Chitintale market, which is also ongoing, and it is anticipated that this will provide workspaces for over 2,000 vendors. And this, again, will ensure that these have organized area, but also convenient, and also the ability to ensure that we have quality and clean food. The pledge number 8 is on revenue collection. As a city, the city collects local revenue. And you can see from this diagram, from this figure, you note that revenue has consistently increased within the city from 80.31 billion shillings to 114.6 billion shillings. So consistently, the institution and also with the help of government generally, we note that there has been an improvement and also focus on revenue mobilization. Revenue is very critical because this is an avenue for financing our key infrastructure projects. With the current rate at which we are having a lot of projects, it means the revenue side also must be up to speed. So this is very critical to ensure that government provides for resources to be able to finance its specific priorities going forward. So as an institution, we still note that there is still more need and urge to ensure that sources of revenue are enhanced, but also with an increment in the revenue base. So consistently, there have been other areas. And we note that there have been some additional avenues. For instance, recently, an ordinance on outdoor advertising was also passed and also cleared for implementation. So this ordinance, eventually, because we have not been collecting, for instance, fees from the advertising, so meaning we are also still going to see how to again increase revenue mobilization in those respective areas. Parish development model is also one of the key initiative government programs, which is also being implemented within the city. And we have really had this implemented and also seeking to transform the economy and also uplifting the people within the country from peasantry to higher incomes. So we have set up ward circles in all the 99 wards, set up the parish development committees who are active and working in all these 99 wards, completed the enterprise identification, carried out a ministerial sensitization drive about the parish development model in the city, cognizant of the respective priorities, and also having these respective individual accounts given resources. So resources also have also been provided to the respective accounts of entities. And here pictorially, we see certificates being provided for accessing PDM funds. As you can see, this team is led by the Honorable Minister, where work has really happened, and we appreciate the Minister for standing with the communities and also being part of this process of also the parish development model. Pictorially, we also see persons with disabilities accessing these funds through their respective circles. On the implementation status of other Kampala Metropolitan Area commitments, we note that we see that Chiwatule, Najera Road, Ulindo, Nakwero, and we note that this 8 kilometers, the contractor is on site, and this is also under the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area Urban Development Program. Sonde, Bababachu Chuorogoma in Chira Municipality, it has also been planned. We see Jokers, UCC, Namulira in Chira, Bukasa Port Terminal in Chira, Namasuba, Chikajo Masaja, Usawala in Maki in the Savagavo. It is also planned under the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area Project. Maganjo, Simu, Katoke in Nansana Municipality. Kagoma, Navuma in Nansana Municipality. Kajansi Rutembe, Namulanda, Namugongo, Nsasa, Bulindo. So all this, we note that procurement is ongoing, and most of them are at different levels of contractor, having contractors on site, but also being implemented. So by and large, we see that at the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area, we shall see lots of improvements within the infrastructure. And it is an area actually really where we have really been doing bad in form of infrastructure, the roads, which were really getting dilapidated, and also a number of potholes forthcoming. All this notwithstanding, we still have challenges. And these challenges, we always try to work with them, but also we try to ensure that these challenges here are also addressed as we move towards realization of these key commitments which we have put up. First and foremost, financing will always remain a constraint. And we note that for the respective areas, financing is really not adequate. And the key question which retards development always is the availability of financing. But even this financing, for some areas specifically, we have issues to do with the PAPs. And we call upon the country that, yes, as we have some of these roads coming, some of these roads and infrastructure, they are there to improve our lives. And it's very important that we work as a teams, as communities, as stakeholders to support these projects going forward. I also indicated the current status of the roads in the city, that as we are working on certain roads, you see that other roads have really spent beyond the lifespan of their existence. So most of these roads here, the wear and tear is very much. So because of this, the roads have dilapidated. It's not only roads, but we also have other structures like buildings. As an institution, as Kampala, the city manages hospitals, it manages schools, and all these have buildings, which also we are saying these infrastructures require also resources to maintain. I also talked about vandalism. We have these street lights, but by and large, enforcement of trade order is critical, yes, but we note that these are stolen. And as you repair, as you install, as these projects come on board, Ugandans must be able to protect. Everybody has a role to play in ensuring that they protect. We have noted where people just remove batteries and others are watching. How can somebody remove a battery in front of your shop and for you just remain there watching somebody taking those respective infrastructure? It is very bad, and yet it means we have left this country not to be part of it, but we have really left it aside. So it is also our respective role as communities, as individuals, and all stakeholders to ensure that we are part of the development process of this country. Negative behavior towards solid waste management, we note the current existing, but this is very critical in the sense that this is part and parcel of us. Dumping garbage, sorting garbage is a role for everybody. Not throwing everything in the ditches, in the channels, is a responsibility. If we don't throw bottles anyhow. That will improve, for instance, the flow of water. And when we throw these bottles anyhow, it means that the channels will be blocked. And the last one is congestion in the city arising from the increment in these vehicles. But as government, we are seeking to address this through the mass transport, which has been scoped in the next NDP 4. What are we saying going forward on the roads and infrastructure by and large? We are fast-tracking the greater implementation of the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area Urban Development Program, which has about 72 kilometers to be implemented. The Kampala City Road Rehabilitation Program, which is already ongoing, and the work is seen everywhere, 69 kilometers. And also the ongoing, the annuity project, which is also being proposed and is in the pipeline and to be financed by the UK. Revenue generation, we are saying that yes, we are still looking for other means to tap into the respective revenue sources of the different revenue areas, the tax base which is across, and to ensure that as government we increase on the revenue base and also the financing and the source of revenue. And the fourth one being the market development. Yes, there are some specific areas which require more land, and for you to be able to expand the markets, you need land. So also we are saying we need additional resources to ensure that we have land for some markets, for instance, parking and also expansion for their respective, for the implementation. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for listening. This is the presentation we have. Thank you for God and my country.
Let's put our hands together once again and give a big applause to the presentation by the Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, I want to thank you and your team for this elaborate and insightful presentation that gives the status of affairs in the Kampala City and the metropolitan affairs. Like I had mentioned, I will now give the observations from the unit, and then we invite the media to make or raise any issues of concern on the presentation that has been made. Honorable Minister, on behalf of the unit which does the monitoring, would like to appreciate all the efforts that have been made by your ministry and the institutions thereunder in trying to, first, from the information you have shared with us here, we want to appreciate the efforts that have been made in decongesting the city from the city traffic and the order that you are trying to create within the markets. I think there are efforts towards that direction, and the unit wants to take recognition of that. The city has also registered a decline in urban crimes. Also, yesterday we had here a team from Internal Affairs which shared with the country on the different interventions that have been made. I think even we had at one point started witnessing a new way of people being kicked and their property snatched, and I think the security was able to take over this in collaboration with your teams. So that is important because it restores the security, the confidence of the citizens. We also want to salute your efforts with other health teams for the effort for the efforts in the disease surveillance, which has been able to contain the outbreaks of the COVID-19, Ebola, and now Mpox. I believe that your health team, working with the National Health Infrastructure and Framework, we have been able to contain some of these challenges. Honorable Minister, as a matter of fact, Kampala City is the face of our nation, and I think the biggest contribution to our GDP also takes place within this area, and should be treated as one that should have a good impression to the visitors and also to those who operate in it. So I used to bring these observations that still characterize our city. We still have unregulated vendors who are still selling merchandise on pavements within the central business districts. We need to improve the process of issuance of licenses, to attract more people to register their businesses from the informal sector. I think there is a need here to align yourselves with the national registration, business registration system, which should be aimed at reducing the lead times on the licensing process. We still have uncontrolled damaging of the environment, with some person erecting structures in wetlands and on drainage channels, leading to floods in the city. I think this is also, there is a need to work with the other national frameworks to improve on the enforcement that should be guarding against some of these unwanted behaviors. In some parts of the city, we have sewage channels which have been blocked. As a result of this, the state, Honorable Minister, the state of some leisure parks and community areas need to be addressed so that the people can also enjoy some leisure when they are within their city rest areas. The state of infrastructure, we want to identify with the different developments that are going on here, but also we also wish to observe that the citizens are also complaining, and we have heard many times on the media calling Kampala City the pothole city of the world. So we pray that these projects that are coming up will definitely solve some of these, and Kampala can enjoy one of the more tolerable roads compared to others that are across the country. Planning for urban development is a matter that needs serious attention in tackling the protracted delays in approval of plans, and also enforcement on those who change the approved plans, which I think at the end of the day cause a negative, which cause a negative impact on the planning system. Issues of public health in markets and general hygiene within the cities is still wanting, Honorable Minister. One wonders what is the state of the public toilets within this city. I think this is an area of health and hygiene which is important for the lives of our people. The current state of garbage management within the city, a number of rubbish bins within the city are full with refuse and waste, and this could result into a health hazard. Honorable Minister, on the management of borders, we definitely see the efforts being instituted to designate border stages, but we are still recording a big number of casualties due to border accidents. I think these exercises of regulating this industry is very important, and the enforcement of those who may not be complying with the established order of running the city need to be considered. The implementation of livelihood programs is critical, and we are happy that they have started within the city so that the people in the city do not feel isolated from what the other members within the country are enjoying as citizens. Honorable Minister, lastly, the unit will be monitoring the city, and we want to identify and appreciate further the different achievements that have been highlighted here. And I think the program is being worked on. We will share this with your relevant offices on when we shall be coming to look at the different achievements that have been registered this morning. Apart from that, we want to identify with the challenges that you have raised here, and it's our wish that government tries to look at those that can be mitigated urgently. We are happy that in some areas certain interventions are coming up, especially on improving the city roads, which will make Kampala a bit more smarter and impressive. And then it's also our wish that those works that are in progress are fast-tracked and concluded, so that as we wind up on the political term, we have a strong message to give to the citizens within this city that the government is or was very committed on the different interventions and commitments that were proposed in the manifesto. Within that brief, these are observations, Honorable Minister. They are just for noting. Some could be where you have any other response, it will come within your response. I want now to invite the media to raise their issues, and then we make a response, and then we conclude this session. Thank you. Yes?
Thank you. Good morning. My name is George William Katulova. I work with Namirembe FM. Honorable Minister, in the presentation, I have heard nothing like sanitation. Wherever you pass in Kampala, everywhere is garbage. What are you doing to curb this? We know what happened in Chitezi. Should we say KCCA is failing to find a location to take this garbage? Thank you.
Next.
Okay, thank you. Right Honorable Timisa Kavanda and your technical team. My name is Mugabapo. I work with the CTN. It is an online media. First, it is good that Mugabapo. It is good that there is a technical team, and I think they will elaborate more on this. My first concern is on border. It is I would say a long-term issue in Kampala. So many leaders have talked about it, but up to now it is still incomplete to be worked on. Yeah, you talked about gazetting stages. I will start with that. That in Kampala Central and Makinge, so far you have already completed that exercise. But if you go down to, I would say, the victims, the border in court, most of those people, they don't know about this exercise. What these people did when they are moving around, most so they use vehicles, they move in vans. So most of these people, the only people who know about it are their leaders. And the way they pass the message to the raiders, it is not well disseminated to them. And if you try to ask these people, for them what they always say, for us, we don't know about the exercise. We only see these posts which always say that this is border ABCD stage, the names. But they are not aware, even I think it could be better if it is maybe passed on the media that on such and such a date, we are going to visit Kawempe, and these people, they can mobilize themselves knowing that the exercise is going to occur, and they need to mobilize such that they will move on the same pace, but they are unaware of the exercise. And then, two still on border, more so within Kampala. Right, Honorable Minister, and your technical wing, there's a problem on border in Kampala if you move around in Amirembe Road, and those roads that surrounds the Ham, that building of Ham, where the playground is. There are so many people who, I think they call themselves enforcers of border rules and regulation. And what they do, it is their aim to say soliciting money from borders, and to the worst part of it, they work with some police officers with the nearby police stations. They always stage on some junctions, particularly that one at Namirembas have said, Valley Tuma. They stop borders, they ask them for their cards of stages. Which stage do you base from? And if that person do not have a card which identifies the stage, they have their personal fines, which always, I think, ranges from 20 to 40,000. That's what they make these borders to pay. If that person tries to insist that, no, I don't have that money, it is when these police officers who accompany these guys to be enforcing the law come in, and so if you don't have this money, let us take you to the nearby police station. So that is also within the city under borders. Then my last question, I think, to go on the issue of garbage. It was also highlighted under, I think, the challenges you are facing now. Now, the issue of garbage, for me, I reside within the Rubaga division, where Nabugabo, I think they are the contractors which do this in Rubaga. But these people, what they did, I think, before the incidents of where cheaters, they only come to collect money. That Nabugabo has a big problem. In a month, they can even take a month without bringing any vehicle to collect that garbage. And these people, they don't have any designated place that you can go there if you have your concern that you are taking it to be addressed. You only see people who come to collect money, but if you try that, who is responsible? Where do you report? No one will answer you, and you're not there with your concern. Unless maybe if you happen to get a chance and get officials from KCC, maybe to a certain extent, but that you are looking for the management of Nabugabo, no. Where to be seen? Only to see people who come to collect money. And they come the day actually when the vehicle has come, either once in a month. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's try to be as brief as possible because we have many other. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you so much. My name is Chakwa Mary. I work with UBC. My concern also regards garbage in the city. Me specifically, I want to know what's the right timing for cleaning the city. Because in most cases, I've observed as an individual, especially around Clock Tower, most of your staff from KCCA, they clean in the late hours in the morning when people are busy rushing for work, and at times they don't mind about people who are bypassing. Then two, still on wastes, the time, I also want to know what's the right time also for collecting garbage, especially around the market areas, because now, considering the season we are in, it is a rainy season, and this could be, at times the vehicles come very late to pick the garbage, and this could increase the spread of infections, especially around people who work in the markets. Thank you.
Okay. I think if something has been raised, unless something was missed that can support the seriousness of the message being put to the minister, we don't have to repeat ourselves. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you so much. My name is Rita Nandira from Churchill Uganda Family TV. My main concern is about sanitation, but mostly about the Nakasero market, because we are around Kampala, and Church House is next to Nakasero market, and that place is very, very dirty. What is the solution to this? Because even though you pass there right now, Nakasero market is really, really not looking good. The sanitation in that area, that market is not good. How are we going to finish out this solution to this matter? Thank you so much.
Okay. Here.
I'm Coach Chakraga Mike. I work with Nation Media. My concern is about the vandalism. The technical has talked about the vandalism of the batteries. But why the public is ignoring this? It is because of the KCCA officials, the way they treat people outside there. That is why the public is not even taking concern of reporting such cases. Another issue is about the crimes. You have talked about the crimes that the minister said that it has reduced, but it has reduced within where there is camera. But outside, areas where there is no cameras, these people, nowadays they are more than before within Kampala. When you go to divisions like Kawempe, around that side of Bwaise, there is a place called along Kazo Road. So many younger people around 18, 20 years, 15 like that. When the time around the 8 p.m., they gang around and they still sneaking people's phones. And even if the police officer is there, nothing can be done to those people. They are just there. They are stealing people's things, snapping people's phones. That is a big problem within Kampala. Within Kampala also, around the old tax park are there. They are there. I don't know how far. I don't know how you have done about that, and what is your take about that? The criminals, especially this period, Christmas period. Thanks.
Okay. Were you here yesterday? Huh? But we had the Minister of Internal Affairs and the whole top management of police. And I thought this would have been very, very relevant in that. I know State Council will work with other agencies, but this would have been very specifically relevant to the Minister of Internal Affairs. And that, but that will not stop the Minister from responding. And if you have that case as a media man, you report to the nearest police station to help. If you have no contact, I can refer you to the direct operations to take that up, especially if there are people known and they are there and it's repetitive, then we can now task the relevant institutions.
I raised my hand yesterday, but you didn't choose me. Yes, I was here. But I want to address the issue of the criminals within the city. About that, the police is not helping the public. They are after money.
They listened to this so that they can now go back and see how they can listen. Yes, the minister was even here.
Thank you so much, Director, and the Minister and your technical team for the presentation. I'll be brief and short because most of the points have been highlighted. I'm Julius Mugaga Tukachungwa, and I write with Umoja Standard. It's a news agency. Let me start with the streets. We are aiming at a clean city. That's the aim of Kampala Capital State Authority. But you find there are some incidences where people cook on streets. And actually, to be specific, if it would be like in Kasubi, Islam area, it would be maybe a bit okay. But you find even people cooking around Crested Towers, opposite to UBC. So shaming, because that road takes most important people. But it's not just that, even the entire city, if you want to be clean. Then the other point is about drainage. There are some primary drainage channels. For those, they would be exceptional. But the secondary channels that pass via settlements, for example, in slums, Kampala is full of ghettos. But you find people are staying near drainage channels and they are open. And you know the habit is they just throw the garbage inside the drainage channel. I would think maybe KCA, do you have a plan maybe of covering these channels, at least for those that pass via settlements? Then the other issue is the exits in the markets. For example, Nakasero. When you enter Nakasero market, you don't know where to exit from. You want to try to exit and you are competing with someone who is pushing chigari, someone who is carrying tomatoes and everything. So I don't know whether you are looking at that point. Then the other key point, also on garbage, is on streets. You provide these trash bins, but you don't dissect them or differentiate that here you put things that decompose and here you put things that do not. So I think to me it would start with KCA. You be specific. When you are putting those trash bins, you be specific that here you put things that compose and those that do not compose. And maybe lastly is the time of collecting garbage. It's absurd that you find a truck carrying garbage in a street jam, in a jam with the other cars with other people. And to make matters worse, even those that are up on those trucks, they are not covered, but they are human beings. And really it is prone to diseases. Most of the people are so allergic to that kind of rot and the smell that comes. So I don't know whether KC is also thinking about maybe collecting this garbage during the night. Then in the morning, you have a free flow. I think I can stop there for the moment. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes. Are you the last one?
Thank you very much. Honourable Minister, good morning. My name is Olivia Navagala from Radio Sapiencia. First of all, I'd like to thank the presentation and also humbly request the gentleman who has presented to at least to know the names and title about him. Secondly, when are we seeing the signalization of Clock Tower Junction? Because every month we've seen so many accidents in that area. Secondly, can we have an update related to compensation of landlords in Chitezi and Chisanja? Thirdly, we've seen so many political leaders, especially in divisions, crying for devolution in their capacity. What are you doing as the minister to address this? Thirdly, in your presentation, you said that you are going to reconstruct more markets. The old ones, their buildings are coming old. When are we seeing this kicking off? And also, government has tried so much to build markets, but we are seeing vendors running out in these markets, especially in the market of Wusafi. So many vendors are running out in that market. Where is the problem? The government has been talked about. Then so, for several times we've had traders calling upon the ministry to at least re-establish the Sunday markets that were in existence. What are you doing to address this cry? And lastly, we are seeing the continued reduction of KCCA budget every financial year. Yet the KCCA is the heart of the people in Kampala, which we would have expected to have some good funding with authority. What are you doing to address this? I thank you.
Thank you. On your last question, we shall be having the Minister of Finance in the afternoon. I think we can also keep it for them. Okay. Lastly.
Thank you, Director. I'm called Bob Opio, a citizen and former RBC. Thank you, the presenter, the minister. I have some few observations. The President recently talked more issues about the markets in Kampala, especially in KCCA. For some of us, we are surprised to see some of these have not been implemented. And we have also seen politically, some markets, some people have changed them to political things, like painting a market, the whole market become red, especially in Nakawa market. And I also want to ask, as today we are talking about NRM Manifesto, and many of the people within KCC, except the executive, the chief, are appointed by the president. Is that the color of markets in Kampala? And why do you accept the markets to be changed from the original color? Some are green, some have been yellow, but now they are coming red. Secondly, we talk about revenue collection in our markets. But I can see some of your workers are also generating revenue for themselves. Something has been built, but somebody is adding his own structures from on top of government structures. The engineering, we have engineering department in KCCA. Was it gazetted? Is it in order? And if it is so, do they have numbers? And I also wanted us, let's improve on whatever, the vendor should have numbers. Every vendor should have a number. But I don't see this happening. There are many people who are operating in this market, and even what they pay to KCCA, I don't think you get all these collections. If at all you get, it might even be a quarter. Where does all the money go? I think there's somebody behind this. Thank you.
Okay, very much. I think that marks the end of the questions. I want now to request you, Honorable Minister, to come and make the responses, and where necessary, invite your technical teams to also give their side of the story in the areas they serve, just in case. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I thank everybody for being so attentive. I think at least this one shows that you're more interested in Kampala. As a minister for Kampala, I think I should start with the last presenter. He talked about issues in markets. Ever since we entered this, ever since we were appointed as ministers for Kampala, we've been fighting with markets. And I think all of you have heard people mentioning our names, saying this and this. But we kept quiet and started talking. We started saying we are going to improve the markets. That's when we took the presentation to Cabinet, and at least Cabinet approved and Parliament approved that KCC should manage the markets. But transition is not all that simple. And I know we are doing our level best. I can give you an example of Obusega market. Have just opened it. I directed the RCs of Kampala to go and open that market. But ever since it was opened, along a lot of challenges. People are saying they are giving it to NRM people, they are giving it to what. But when I went there, I found councillors, the mayor was also there, and so many people. And for us, our aim was to remove people from the roundabout, those outside vendors, to put them in the market. And that's what we did. But remember, that market has been in existence for 8 years. And those 8 years, people had registered. People have papers, they paid money to some people, just mascalators, they paid money. We have evidence that you have paid for this, we are going to get a store. But for us, our aim was to remove those vendors who were outside, because that market was constructed by government. And when we were removing them, we did not say NRM come in, NOP come in, DP come in. It was just general. We said whoever is working from this place should vacate and go to the market. And so far, for us, we have succeeded. But still, with all the technicalities, the politics in Kampala, people still are at least saying, this one wouldn't have been like this. So we are trying. Then other markets, you know what was taking place, we know what was what is taking place in Nakawa. We know whatever is taking place in all those markets. And as KCC, as ministers, we are trying our level best, because it started with the leadership which was in the markets. That leadership had taken over each and everything, collecting money, taking people's things, and all sorts of things. But I thank government, at least there is some improvement, and we are trying to improve as ministers, as KCCA. We still have a problem of electricity, water, and other things. But according to the presentation, it was so clear that we should take money for cleaning, money for electricity, and money for water. That's so. We don't collect money from POSA. But still there are some masqueraders, and those are your brothers and sisters who collect money. They are not our sons. They are not our daughters. So that means we should also fight this. First of all, I think we should love our country before we do any other thing. Let's say this is our Uganda. This is our Kampala. Not only for the minister, not only for President Museveni, but if you love your country, that means you're going to do what you're supposed to do. Someone has said, we don't want to report because we are fed up of KCCA staff. But those are our people. They always come and look for jobs, and when they succeed, sometimes they get even contracts. So we should take concern that this is our Kampala. We should all own Kampala. That's when we shall fight corruption. The main issue in Kampala is corruption. Not only it starts from maybe the KCCA cannot say they are not corrupt, but still also those workers there, the lower staff, are also corrupt. And they are looking for jobs, and they are your people. So you talk to them. If you see someone doing something, but sometimes even in Kampala, you can see someone taking a woman's bag. Then you say, continue, continue, continue. But what is that? At one time I was driving. I was not a minister by that time. It was raining and someone opened my car. I was driving, someone opened the car and moved my handbag. But people had started hooting, continue, don't even stop, continue. You already finished. What are you waiting for? So I had to continue. And I could not report because I was on the streets. But why don't you assist us as members of government, as Kampala people, especially you youths? You support your friend. Sometimes police is running after a bad person. Then you also continue running just to defend that person. So I think we are not doing the right thing for our government. Let's also fight corruption. Let's fight everything. The vandalism on the streets, on street lights. It is taken by those girls on the streets, the so-called prostitutes. They don't want light. So when you put it there, morning time they come, at night they come, they remove the batteries because they want to stay in darkness. Have fought that, and when you put someone, unless if you put so many people there, they come as a gang. Those girls around the streets, they come as a gang and harm this person who is put there. So we're still looking at, we've talked with security, and we need them to assist us. Otherwise, it's not our make that we want to put the street lights there, then tomorrow you come and remove them, and why are we putting them there? During that period, we put lights everywhere in Kampala, but they are no longer there. But they were vandalized by either you or other people, or the prostitutes. Then sometimes they even want to bring they remove the iron bars. They come and harm someone who is on the streets, who is not working with those people. So please, as the nation, you have to assist us. Revenue collection in markets, workers, I've talked about that. We are not allowed to collect revenue apart from money for the small amount of money which should be collected. And it should be collected by KCCA people, KCCA staff, not the leadership in KCCA because we no longer allow KCC leadership. No, we don't no longer allow. We have market masters, we have administrators in the markets who are responsible for that. Then about the politics in markets, we don't allow politics in markets. Even if you're NRM, NOOP, or anybody, we don't allow offices or political offices to be removed from the markets. And yesterday, on Monday, I went to Busega Market. Someone already masqueraded. You see in Kampala or in Uganda, when you want to do something, you put NRM office, PRU office, NOOP office, such that you are untouchable. But we refused them. We told them, please, don't put any office in the market, unless this one is a new market. It's for the vendors, it's for the lower people. Don't remove anything. Don't put any office there. And we are trying to remove them. Although we are working with some politicians, but we don't allow any politics in the markets. So please, don't allow them there. And painting Nakawa with the red color, I'm not so certain about that, but my technical people are here. I think they've listened and they're going to talk about that. Otherwise, we don't say we want red, we want what. And so far, we have started the issue, tackling the issues of the markets. Markets are a problem, and we have started on them. We started with the Busega market. We are going to one again on Friday. Then we shall move around all the markets. So I think maybe we shall, after 6 months, we shall see some changes. Then, about garbage. I think we are all aware about the garbage in Kampala and what took place in Chitezi. Kampala Metropolitan were all dumping in Chitezi. Time came when we got that tragedy. Right now, we have talked to several people. You talked to Entebbe, I think we took only 5 days, then they sent us away. We went to Katikolo. When we went to Katikolo, they want so many things. Work on this road, do this, bring this. We want money and everything. Then we went to Menvu. Menvu is also a wetland, whereby we think if we also litter there, we are going to get more problems as Ugandans. So we said we cannot litter in a wetland. And for the Kampala Metropolitan, we could not do that. But at least they gave us some months in Katikolo. Right now, they have sent us away on certain conditions. But fortunately, we've got land now on Mitiana Road. We are finalizing, and I know by end of tomorrow, we shall be littering in Mitiana, Bujuko area. But still, all the areas which we had to go through the NFA, environment issues, and so many other things. We could not just say, yes, we have land here, let's litter here. No, we had to pass through the right directions. So that's why we have spent time without going there. But I'm telling you this, because I'm aware about this, that we have already got land, and we're going to start littering there. The whole Kampala Metropolitan is going to start littering in Bujuko area. We have 200 acres of land. Yes, we have not paid them, but at least we have settled with them, and we are going to start littering there. George, you have talked about garbage location to take garbage. Yes, I think that answers for everything about garbage. We are going to change. The concessionaires were put in place. They also have challenges because they did have the contract. Their contracts had expired, but at least they have assisted us. Others wouldn't have managed as KCCA. First of all, we have few trucks for garbage. But at least, may I thank them, the concessionaires who are in place. But still, we don't collect money in slum areas. Those concessionaires are not supposed to collect money in, like me, I say in Chisenyi. We don't pay for garbage. But if you have a business in Chisenyi, you can pay for garbage. So we only collect from those who have business in. We only collect money from from those people who are business people in those areas. Then we come to town, that's where we collect money. Because they are also earning something. Otherwise, we don't. Border long. Someone, Paulo, talked about border long. Bakuli area. I know about that issue, and I've been fighting it. We know about it. We've been fighting. There is some corruption there. Cannot say there is no corruption. There is. And we've tried to arrest those people. But those so-called law enforcement officers. But I'm happy to inform you that the contract expired. And I've advised as a minister for Kampala that we should not renew their contract before we vet them. Because we have clips where they're extorting money from people. We have real evidence where they are conniving with police, where they are working with the courts at KCCA, and we've discussed that at length with the management of KCCA, and I know they are going to take some action. Otherwise, we would have renewed them a long time ago, but I wrote to public service that they should not renew them because it's a very big issue in Kampala. Not only along Namirembe Road, according to our research, but in Chikubo, in all those other areas, they've been extorting money from people. So we are fighting that one. The enforcement and everything, that all 02 corruption within ourselves. Police officers, I cannot talk about police officers because Minister of Internal Affairs will talk about that. But if you have evidence, please come and report them. Tell us that because they have their numbers here, they have their names here. You come and report. Because we want to improve Kampala. Kampala belongs to everybody. It's not for me, it's not for President, it's not for Mr. Bashir, it's for everybody. So let's report them. I always receive complaints from several people. That's why sometimes you saw me intervening with the traders in Kampala. They wanted to demonstrate. I intervened as a minister for Kampala. And I don't work alone. If you come and report to me, I'll consult with the Minister for Presidency, I'll talk to the Minister for Trade, Minister for everybody as interministerial. We can work on that. But come with evidence, that's what we want. The right time for collecting garbage, I think it would have been at night. But sometimes we call upon this, even in the middle of the day, that you come, people have littered here, come, there is something here, there is an emergency here. But otherwise, we always tell them to collect garbage at night. Nakasero Market is very dirty. Nakasero Market needs renovation, and Greater Kampala is about to renovate the markets. Usafi Market is going to be renovated, and so many other markets. Then we are going to put markets all over the district, at least one market in the district. And I'm happy to inform you that I got a letter from His Excellency the President talking about the market in Gwanda market, that Bosco land. He's telling us that we should buy that market for our people. And so far, we are under negotiations. Anytime we're going to buy it and construct it, and we put our vendors here. We are also constructing Seka Market. Seka Market also, we think if we get that place also, we are going to decongest Kampala. So some of those areas are being worked upon. So you just wait for action. Vandalism, we have talked about it. Gangs in Wise, so you need to give us evidence that there is this. You take pictures, because now you move with pictures. You have a lot of pictures. People send me clips that this is happening at this time. Then I talk to the Minister for Internal Affairs. I talk to the Minister for Security that this has happened. So just give us evidence. Our offices are open. Come and talk, report. Because those are your children. That's what I always say. Those are your children. Those are your brothers who think they're not supposed to work. They just need to act like that. Aiming at cleaning. We are aiming at cleaning the city. When you talk about removing those vendors, I think you also saw it some time back when we removed the vendors on the streets. Some councillors started demonstrating. We want our voters. Why did you remove them? We want this and this. And yet they are the leaders, they are the leaders of Kampala. So we are also constrained somehow. We talk about this, then they will come out and say, no, this one is not possible. You go back on the streets. We had worked on that issue long time ago. I feel you think you are also witnesses. We removed the vendors from the streets, then they put them back. Then you fight again. You use a lot of money removing the vendors. But politics, that politics which you always support, I wish you could see the mistakes you make in your voting. For us, we don't want those vendors, this cooking on the streets, doing what? Peeling. Now the peeling is also on the streets. Because at night you come, the bachelors want and come and buy matoke, which is peeled, sweet potatoes, which is peeled. Everything is done on the streets. And they don't remove them. So that means you have to go on looking for people to clean those areas. It's not right. Signalizing at clock tower, they will talk about it. Devolution, technical people will talk about it. Compensation of Chitezi. I think Prime Minister is supposed to talk about that, not my office. Vendors running out of the market. Is that a fault of a minister? Mindset change. People think they can do vending more outside than in the market. Now we have shops around. Someone comes out of her shop or his shop and puts things on the veranda. That's not right. I think we should also mind ourselves. Why do you wait for the enforcement person to remove you from the streets? When you know you have a shop inside there and you remove this Christmas time, they are going to pull out everything in the shops and start vending on the streets. But we are going to arrest them. Sunday market. There has to be a policy about that. So I can also, we are going to bring a Sunday market, and I think the technical will talk more about that. But still, we are still thinking about the bazaar, Christmas bazaar. We are still discussing that, whether we can allow them to do their bazaar. They come up this peak season. They come on not on the streets. We shall gazette a certain place. They come and put their merchandise there. They sell maybe from 15th up to 4th January. Then they leave the street, but not on the streets. We have to identify some place where they can put their things there for Christmas selling, especially the vendors who have been selling on the streets. I thank you for listening to me. I think I've answered most of the questions, but let me call upon my technical person, or if someone from the Ministry of Kampala think that there is something they need to talk about, they can come and talk about it. Otherwise, thank you very much. I've been told to summarize everything in Luganda. Give me that book. After.
Thank you. My work has been simplified, but just to add on, I'm called William Epiaka. I am the Deputy Director of Strategy Management and Business Development, specifically planning at Kampala Capital City Authority. I'll begin with the color. I think the projector, somebody on the projector, we got slide 7 and the first project. What is there? And we shall have an answer to that. But by and large, we note that as far as markets are concerned, a number of them have been scoped in the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area Project. These include Gaba, Sheka, Usafi, Kamocha, and also redesign Kosa Utiseka. So those are some of the markets, and the question was, when are they starting? The process has started. The respective designs, all those are being worked on such that this process begins. So they are supposed to be worked within the lifetime of the project. So by and large, the scope and the time at which these markets are supposed to be reconstructed are within the respective period where the project is going to be implemented. And this project here already it has started, like you have indicated, and the meaning that this will be worked on, but with the community involvement everybody being part of this exercise. There was a question about vendors running out of the markets. And the key question we have always asked ourselves is why? Because if you answer that question of why are they running out of these markets, then that will be sorted out. This is not only in Kampala. We have had a number of projects, including MATIP, by the Minister of Local Government, across the country. So you see that a number of markets have been constructed across the entire country. And such a question, again, arises, and you'll find why some specific people continue to use, for example, if you go to Lukaya, and there's a nearby market which has been constructed, and why that new market has not been operationalized. So those are the key questions. And we are saying that this should be in a consultative manner. When you involve the users of these markets here, then you should be able to get the key questions. You should be able to answer those specific questions, and also why some of those things are happening, are not being implemented. So this approach here is supposed to use a stakeholder involvement where everybody is part of this, the design and implementation of these markets. I'll go to the devolution question. This is entrenched in the law, and the KCCA Act, to be specific, 2010, as amended. And the devolution, you note that the KCCA is a unique institution. It is a unique in a sense that it is a central government because it is an authority. It is Kampala Capital City Authority, but also has decentralized functions. And the Act also provides for decentralized functions. And operationally, technically, we are looking forward to address this through the current refinement and also restructuring of the government budgeting instruments. And if this is realized, it is bigger than what you see. When you're talking about implementing devolution, and if you go to a place like, for example, Nakawa Division, for you to be able to say that, okay, now, these are the resources for you to be able to implement, then you need to check if there's human resources enough there, if they can be able to absorb the resources which have been provided for, because they are for service delivery, and if each and everything is required there. So there has been a comprehensive discussion. We are discussing with the Minister of Finance to ensure that these specifics are catered for. But also the architecture of the instruments, like for example the PBS and also the IFMIS, should be able to also to implement what is required. So it is a holistic approach which requires a multi-stakeholder and institutional process to address. And this process, I must tell you, that is on. Fortunately, we're also transiting from the previous plan, NDP 4 to NDP, NDP 3 to NDP 4, meaning the budgeting and planning instruments are changing. So all of this must be in tandem with all those specific government architecture. And by and large, because these have come at the right time, the program implementation action plans are being cascaded to ensure that the divisions are taken care of. And that eventually will solve that key question of ensuring that these are happening. Time for collecting rubbish. This is critical. Originally, you may realize that before Chitezi happened, this rubbish was moving at night. But after the collapse of Chitezi, we no longer use that very place, and we are using other areas. For instance, Katikolo does not allow you to take rubbish after 6 o'clock. So meaning we are constrained. But the processes which are on to ensure that we have the specific landfill, this will really address this aspect, because it's also a concern that when these trucks move at night, first of all, it is efficient that we use less fuel, and also it is convenient for us to be able to work and also deliver this rubbish quickly. So it is an area which the institution is mindful and also tackling specifically. I'll talk about sanitation, waste management, trash bin, all collectively. We are taking short, medium, long-term plans in addressing this. So there are specific interventions which are quick. That you have rubbish, you are discussing with stakeholders on where to dump that rubbish. And now that is the key issue for you to be able to ensure that we don't have rubbish in the city, and this rubbish is taken. But by and large, we're also saying that going forward, we need to have this rubbish sorted. So you have, for instance, the 7R, which must be taken care of. And this is along the life cycle, the entire chain. It is from collection up to the end. There's reuse, reduce, recycle, refuse, rethink, repurpose, redesign. And if you go to the program of the NDP4, the sustainable energy development, specifically there's an intervention to ensure that this rubbish is turned to energy. So there is a specific government plan to ensure that this rubbish here is recycled and also turned to energy. And also there are specific plans to ensure that we have this incinerated. So we have processes, and for instance, the current process which is on to have land for this exercise will really address this component. And we're also saying, and we're telling the public, that garbage must be sorted at source. And this eventually will address, if you go to outside countries, you'll find that there are different dustbins. And these different dustbins here are marked on what should be in this one here. This should be for bottles, this one should be for Kavera, this one should be for paper. Such that it's very easy for you to be able to have this deposited in the right places, and also specifically also with the medical. They're also sorted differently, and also they are dumped differently. Right now, everything is collected together. That is the direction we are seeking to address in the medium term going forward. We have a question on also on streets. We saw that hawking is ongoing, but we still have identified this as a key constraint, that even if you are planting flowers in the city, but some people step on these flowers. But we're also encouraging this process because we are the stakeholders, actually we are the customers of these hawkers. If you don't buy from them, eventually they will not be able to be selling. But there's also an ordinance where if we get you buying, we shall also put you in. So by and large, what were we saying? That we initiated the process of trade order. And if you would have seen, this is happening. Started with Old Taxi Park, Arua Park, areas of Chikubo, and all those areas, trying to manage trade order in the city. This is a process, and it requires massive also investments. It requires manpower in form of those specific people who carry out that trade order. It also requires the specific, very rapid prosecution and also provision of fines to those people you are getting, because you also know that our cells are full. But this must be apprehended. But also we don't have specific, very fast means how these offenders prosecuted. So it is also a process which requires. But by and large, for now, for this period, we have prosecuted about, we have had about 10,000 pieces of merchandise within the shortest time period here, about 2 months. And arising from that exercise, which you must have seen down there, we are trying to ensure that trade order is back and is well in the city. So, ladies and gentlemen, we note this, and we also appreciate your comments. We appreciate these additions. As a planner, for me, I know that these specific, not only questions, but comments, really, they add into what we are doing, and also collectively, we shall be able to ensure that the city is well organized, but also specifically areas which require more attention is really addressed. And these are the areas which we are picking, which we also say that we shall be able to take forward and be able really to address going forward. So this, I end by saying that all of us have a role to play. If it comes to sanitation, we have a role to play. When it comes to waste management, all of us are there. If it comes to vandalism, where somebody says, yes, this case is here, we require the feedback. Why you are saying that people are harassing you, we need that feedback. And we say that we can address that key constraint of saying, okay, the case here, people are not doing well, so what should we do? So that should be the conversation which we should, all of us, be looking forward to, such that we really handle this amicably. I thank you. Thank you.
One more question for Mr. William, if you could kindly answer it.
We will have him on the corridor as we move out. We now want to invite the minister to summarize, and then we are able to manage time. William is still with us as we move out. You can still reach out to him and put your matter to him. Thank you.
Neyanzege bangambye nti tuddemuko abantu baffe batulaba nga basobola okuwuliza olulimi Oluganda. Lwaliro twazze okulaba nga tubasomera engeri gye tugenda okuteekamu enkola mu kulaba nga gavumenti yaffe ya NRM ekola kye yasuubiza abantu, era nga tulina okulaba kiki etutuuseeko nawa gye tulaga, kiki kye tutanakola ne kye tukozeeko. Nga minisitule y'e Kampala obuvunaanyizibwa bwayo okuva mu article namba 5 okugamba ekiri mu constitution ya Uganda okulaba nti tutuukiriza enkola eyo eyateekebwawo mu 1995, era kino ne kibeera nga kyakkirizibwa minisitule yaffe ya Kampala okulaba nga ekiteeka mu nkola, okulaba nga tuteekawo amateeka n'okuba bakalabalaba abakulaba nti Greater Kampala Metropolitan ekolebwa ekola byaliteekeddwa okukola, era nga tulaba nti tukwasaganya ebintu byonna nga byalitambudde. Mu ebyo mulimu okulaba nti pulaani ezikubibwa mu Kampala oba pulaani yonna eya Kampala nga Kampala master plan ekolebwa nga bw'erina okubeera, era nga bwe tuba twogera ku Greater Kampala tutegeeza Kampala district, that this is Kampala Central, Nakawa, Makindye, Lubaga ne Kawempe. Bw'ogattako awo n'ogamba nti ne tugenda mu Mpigi district, ne tugenda mu Mukono district, ne tugenda mu Wakiso, then ne tugenda mu bino ebibuga ebirala nga Nansana, Kira municipality, Makindye, Ssaabagabo, Mukono n'Entebbe. Era nga ministry yaffe, ministry yange ya Kampala Central, era nga bagiwa obuyinza okulaba nti ekwasaganya ebyo byonna ebintu projects zonna ezaalize mu Greater Kampala Metropolitan ng'ezikwataganya kati galaba kati ekiriwo ekya Greater Kampala Metropolitan. Era nga tuteekawo okulaba omulimu gwaffe gwa kulaba nti tulaba nti ebintu ebikolebwa biri ku mutindo, biri ku mulembe, era okulaba nti ebyalikoleddwa bikolebwa mu budde bwabyo era mu butuufu bwabyo. Era nga tulaba nti amateeka agateekeddwawo gateekebwawo gakolebwa nga bwe gateekeddwa okubeerawo. Enkola ya gavumenti yali badde etya, era okulaba nti biri ebifo biri bikwasaganyizibwa bulungi. Mujjukira luli nti bwe twalinga nga bw'ogamba nti okoze Kampala akoze oluguudo n'alukomya e Busega, owe Wakiso nga wayinza n'okusigalawo omusenyu n'ettaka, ate Wakiso paka lwalijja n'akola. Naye kati bwe tuba tukola plan tugikola nga tukola nti Kampala Metropolitan ffenna tukolera wamu, era kati ebizeewo plan gye tukola tugikola nga tutambulira wamu nti ya Greater Kampala, tewali Wakiso, tewali Mukono, tewali ki. Bw'obanga ogenda okugatta Mpigi ku Kampala roundabout, Mpigi ku Wakiso weekoma, ate gende Jinja Road Mukono ogende, byonna tuba tubikolera wamu nga ministry yaffe yaki eya Kampala. So tewali aga nti kino kyange oba kino kyoli. Nga tumaze ekyo tulaba nti Kampala tulina omukulaakulanya nga Kampala okulaba nti atuuka ku mutindo, kuba tukimanyi nti Kampala city ye capital city, naye ate Greater Kampala byebibuga ebirinaanidde. Abantu bonna abava mu Wakiso, mu Mukono bakolera mu Kampala. so tulina okulaba nga bonna tubakwasaganya abakozi abo baffe na buli muntu yenna yayagadde okukolera mu Kampala nga tanyigirizibwa. Tulina okulaba nga amataka agaliwo, planning yonna eriwo mu Kampala, ebizimbe byonna bikwataganyizibwa bulungi okusinziira ku mutindo gwaki gwa Kampala. Olw'akazimbe k'osobola okuzimba ebundi bujjo ate nga tojja kaleeta kuzikazimba mu Kampala. So tuliwo okulaba nga tukwadvisinga okulaba nti kino ekizimbe kyotadde ku street eno Kololo ate tojja kiteeka bwayise oba ekyebwayise tojja kiteeka Kololo. So ogwo mulimu gwaffe okulaba nti tukwadvisinga nga aba Kampala okulaba nga tukwataganya tukola plan entuufu eya Kampala. Era manifesto yaffe bwe tuba tugikola tuli buvunaanyizibwa bwaffe okulaba nti Kampala City tugitaddewo bulungi nnyo okulaba nti ekwatagana ne zonna division zenjogeddeko oba municipalities zenjogeddeko. Era nga tweyamye okuba ntutuukiriza ebintu nga president we yabyogera manifesto nga bwebikola nga bwe tubiteesa mu cabinet okulaba nti bituukirira okulaba nga tukola ku nteekateeka tukendeeza ku kanyigo akali mu Kampala nga tukozesa baasi nga tukozesa tuzaawo leerwe tuzamugiraba nti yatandise okukola tuzaawo leerwe tuteekawo light rail tuteekawo flyover ngeri ku sawa ya Queen tuteekawo abasajja bebatambulira abantu batambulira nabaddeko Ethiopia nga leeni ya pikipiki bw'ogitambuliramu oba egaali nga bakwata oba omanyi oba tomanyi bagaba bugambi nti awo otambulidde sootegedde okukola ki ge mateeka ge twagala okuteeka wano naffe mu Kampala bantu bamenye ti Kampala yaffe era ng'omanya nti bodaboda etambulira wano baasi etambulira no baasi eno leeni ya baasi eno ya kamotoka akatono eno y'ey'abantu twewale obubenje obwali tutuuseeko era tubeere nga tumanyi nti wano wenteekeddwa okukolera nga Munnayuganda. Tusaba gavumenti etwongere ku bajeti y'enguudo yadde nga tujjaga nti egenze etwongeramuko ku ssente naye tusaba eyongeremu ku ssente tusobole okulaba nti Kampala ono bagizimba mu myaka gy'ataano gyana mu etaano kati tuteekwa okuba nga tumanyi nti okuva mu egyo emyaka ebizimbe byateekebwawo biri ku mulembe. Olwo ekizimbe ekyateekebwa mu Kampala wano mu 1950 kati ng'akatale k'e Nakasero kazimbwa mu 1945 oba seerabidde akatale ako okutandika kati ng'abazungu bakazimba baali bamanyi nti abantu bagenda okukolera mu katale ako balinga 100 era bo tebaasuubira nti abantu bajja kujja e Kampala basuubule n'obuduka bwe bateeka bamanya bannakampala tebajja kuba bangi naye katwagala kulaba nga tuteekawo ebizimbe ebipya era okusinziira ku pulaani eriwo tugenda kulaba nga Kampala tumuteekamu ebizimbe ate ebirala era nga tulaba nti abantu babeera mu mbeera ennungi eri ebifo ebirala biri nga Abani bwe tuna improvinga Kira municipality abadde asuubula ekira abadde ajja ekira okusuubula e Kampala mu kikuubo tajja kujja kuba tubajja tutaddewo amaduuka amanene oba n'abantu bajja kwongera okuzimba ebizimbe ebisobola okuba nga bituukagana n'omulembe ng'olemanya nti eno duuka ddene kanzija nsuubule wano nga manya nti bwensuubula ekikuubo bwensuubudde mu kikuubo bwengenda n'okusuubula emukono tajja kuba kujja eno era nga tulongoosa ezo enguudo eziriwo mu Kampala oluusi mutujerega lwaki mukuba ebiraka naye olwasi bajeti eriwo tulina okuba ku biraka ekira tulina okulaba nga zezo zibaddewo tuzirongoosa ne tulongoosa n'emyala gyaffe gyonna okulaba nga najjo gitambula bulungi. Tulina okulaba nga tuteekawo obusayini obulaga ti wano we wali era nga ebyo tubitaddewo mu Nateete Nakawa Wandege ya Jinja Road Lugogo n'ebirala byonna nga bwe twabisomye okulaba nti ono amanya nti kati ngenda wano ngenda wali omuntu aleme kumanya nti bw'aba agenda aleme kubeera ng'akola ki nga ate abuuza wa gy'alaga. Era ne mbagamba nti tukoze tuddaabiriza enguudo tuddaabiriza emyala gyaffe ng'egyerubaga nga Kampala Central Makindye ne Nakawa era ne streets zetutadde mu Kampala yadde street lights zetutadde mu Kampala amataala getutadde mu Kampala kulaba nga nago gabeera bulungi yadde ngera mu kimanyi nti era tugabbamu ne tugatwala ffe tugatwala so si beebulaya be bajja naye ffe tujja ne tugakola ki ne tugatwala era junctions mwazirabye nti ezimu twaziggyewo nga twagala kendeeza tutekewo ebitaala abantu basobole okumanya nti kati ngende eno ngende eri yadde nga mukubijjawo era mwabadde mutuvuma era nga muyombera ddala mugamba lwaki sena tufuna amasimu mangi lwaki mujjawo ebiru ate emiti mugimenye n'ekyo kyasalibwawo nti katutekewo amataala gano katutekewo ebitaala ebisobola okuba nga bisobola nti kati genda eno green eno yellow eno ki red otambula bwoti ne bwoti era ekyo tukikoze ku bypass zonna okulaba nga at least tukiteekawo nga twatandikidde Nateete Nakawa Wandegeya Jinja Road Lugogo bypass Upper Koro Lugogo bypass Naguru Road Wampewo Makerere Hill Yusuf Le Road Fairway Hotel ne Hoima Road ne Bakuli Nakulabi ebyo tubitaddewo tugenda kuteekawo ebitaala ebimu biwedde ebya tebinaba kuggwa nga Mulago roundabout kati kangende mu bibuuzo mwambuuzizza lwaki kasasiro asaasanye nnyo mu Kampala nembaga nti kasasiro asaasanye mu Kampala kubanga mumanyi ekyatutuukako ekiteezi ti Greater Kampala Metropolitan ffenna abantu ffenna ebyo ebyalo bye twogeddeko bivuga bitwogeddeko ffenna tubadde tuyiwa kiteezi era ffenna twakosebwa nga kiteezi avuddewo one thing wabadde kumpi ate nga tusobola okuyiwa kasasiro essaawa yonna era twali nga tuyiwayo kiro nga si misana nga tuyiwayo ku makya ne bukeera nga tusaasanya busaasanya nga tulongoosa ate ebifo byaffe ate tuddeyo ekiro tulonde kasasiro waffe naye kati ekyasoboka kubanga we tuyiwa ng'ekatikola tusobola kuyiwayo kiro baggulawo balina time yaabwe ate tusobola ba dictatinga nti banaire katuyiwe kasasiro wano ne trucks bakukkiriza kuyiwa trucks zisukkamu 2 bagamba oleesa esooka n'eyokubiri katirekeraawo ebakuwa obudde kubanga kyabwe tetusobola bagamba nti lwaki muganja ate katikolo gye tuyiwa batuteekako conditions muleete ebyuma ebisenda muleete kino so ne tubeera nga ne budget eyo yadde nga batuwayo ka budget yakalala nga tusobola kituukiriza kubanga twakiraba nga kinene nnyo ebintu gye twali tulina okuyiwa kasasiro awalala nga bo abakira we bayiwa twasanga nga lutobazi nga kasasiro bwe tunamuteekawo wa Greater Kampala ayijja kuba nga twongedde obukyafu n'endwadde mu bantu bwe twayiwako Entebbe baatugobera mu nnaku 5 nayo ne tuba nga tuvaayo so tubadde tutembeya butembeya kasasiro waffe okulaba nga tufunako wetukola ki etumuyiwa naye nga si kye twandyagadde era ne mbagamba nti naye tuli basanyufu nti twasazeewo Prime Minister advises eti sente ze baali batuwadde okulaba nga tugenda okukola ku kiteezi si ku kiteezi compensation wabula okanga tukola ku kiteezi okulongoosa tuziteeke tusasuleko katono ku ttaka atuwadde ettaka gye twalonze gwe baalonda kubanga ekyayita mu contracts committee ya KCCA procurement amateeka gonna gayitibwamu okulaba nga tuteekawo ettaka eritalina bukwakkulizo bungi era njagala obbaga nti twafunye ettaka acres 2 ku Mityana Road Bujuuko okulaba nga tutandika okuyiwa kasasiro bwe banaaba nga bamaliriza olwaleero batekiniko manyi tosobola bawakanya bayinza okutwala mu kkooti banamanyiza olwaleero oba enkya tujja kuba nga tutandise okuyiwa kasasiro waffe mu ebujuuko era mujja tulaba ffenna nga twambadde gloves ne gumboots okulaba nga tuyiwa tusomba kasasiro olunaku lwonna kiro kyonna kulaba nga abantu bonna bajja kuvaayo kyemanyi bajja kujja kubanga sofa nafunyeko kola teyavudde Jinja olina ngamba ngenda kuwa wheelbarrows ngenda kuwa ebitiiyo ngenda kuwa gumboots ne gloves naye nga ate mugwira yankubidde simu nangamba ze ministry ngenda bawa donation eyo era nsuubira olwaliro nyinza okubifuna oba enkya basobole okuba nga tutandika okubikozesa okugyawo obukyafu mu Kampala enkuba ereme kutule naffe tukimanyi tituyinza okufuna obulwadde bwonna nga kukolera n'endala eziva ku bukyafu mwogedde ku bantu abajja ku bantu sente si ffe tubatuma era tebazituleetera ezo ziba zaabwe za nsawo yaabwe obwo obubbi n'obulyake bwabwe abo abakozi mwe mubatuwa ne batukolera muki era balina contracts naye nga tugezaako okubalwanyisa okulaba nga tukijjawo nakyo oli agambye nti bodaboda tetunabazigazeetinga bodaboda twagazeetinga stages naye nakyo kirimu politics bungi nnyo mwatulaba leero twatandika okukerera abantu titubasomese talina kuyita ku kitaala nga kya redi talina causing accident bwati mwagamba abaminisita bagenda tukebera emitwe so ebyo byammwe naye tebyatugaana kukola naye nga tetusigala tukyagala tulina okulaba nga buli bodaboda ayambadde akakooti akamulaga nti avugira ku stage eno ng'alina backcode emulaga nti ali ku kino tukendeze ku bumenyi bw'amateeka era nga tulaba nti ne number place twayogera ne Minister of Security nga twagala kuteekamu code eraga nti eyakuvuze ye nnamba eno yakututtewa babadde yatuuse oba yakutidde mu kkubo nga tusobola ekyo okukimanya. Tulese Nakasero n'obukyafu obuli Nakasero nakyo era mbadde noonya ali asobola okunnyambako yesadde nafunye omuyindi nina mutwala kyemanyire era akedde mu KCCA manyize siba na buyinza bwe buti ate naye yazze nansaba ng'ayagala kuzimba toilet e Nakasero so toilets bbiri by the way Nakasero ku katale kati bo bano balina okuidentifying ekifo ninadde nkirabidde kibagamba mu luzungu tugenda ku-identifying ekifo tulabe nga tuzimba toilets ku ssente ku bwereere twongeremu obuyonjo mu Nakasero market Nakasero ke Nakasero akatali ke Nakasero kagenda kuba ku buno obugenda okubanga buddaabirizibwa n'akawusafi market. Twayogedde ku bubbi bw'ebitaala abawala box streets oba bano ababbi abayagala okubba ekiro be bajjamu batteries ne bazitwala abamu ne bazitunda abalala ne bazitwala olw'okuba nti tebaagala Kampala enyirire oba baagala kubeera nga bakolera ebikyamu ku streets okwo nga bali mu nzikiza. Gange ziri bwayise mutuwe report tuzirabe ziri ku tax park mutuwe report tuzirabe n'abagambye ababodaboda ababbira ku Namirembe Road abo bomba labye era nkutte bangi abamu bali mu kkomera naye nga tukyayongera okukwata naye nze mbanyagala nnyo proof aba enforcement ababba abantu nabo bu clips mbulina ne babbira ku kooti nabo clips mbulina era nja butwala mu ministers bekikwatako nange kenyini nga law enforcement nasazeewo teturenewinga contract yaabwe nga babakyamu tetunnabajjamu era namaze okuwandikira Public Service Commission esobola okulaba nga abantu babeera ki bagibwamu garbage ku streets mugamba abantu balekera okubiwa ku streets abalina sigiri ku streets tewali abasupportinga era abatulaba ne badduka waliwo ka clip akatambula ennyo nga bagamba ab'enforcement bagubye omukyala n'agwa mu kalaayi ya Buddo era ne mukitufuula nnyo political omukyala ali Luzira manya omukyala ali Mulago mujje mulabe bannabyabufuzi bonna ne besomba okugenda okulaba omukyala oyo naye nga bakitufudde political ab'NRM bayokeza omukyala naye tebatunulamu ti omukyala abadde afumbira chapati oba kabalagala ku street wabula bakifuula nti NRM yakutte omuntu tebamukwatako wabula yali adduka enforcement ng'ejja nga amanyi akolera wakyamu yennyini n'agwa mu Buddo naye oyo politics ow'e Kampala tunabasi tumugjeewo tetujja kubaako na bitukola biki bidduganya kibuga kino nga Kampala. Ekyekiteezi compensation nabagambye kya Prime Minister mukama wange yalina okukyogerako abasuubuza okudduka mu butale obuliwo guba mululu kubanga balowooza nti bw'anaagenda ali ku street lwajja okumukolako abo lwajja okufuna bakasitoma abayitawo naye nakyo tufuba okulaba nga tukiddusa. Management mu butale ekolebwa KCCA bano abasolooza ssente baba si wa KCCA abamubbi era ekyo tukirwanyisa. Oli agambye akatale k'e Nakawa nti kalimu red color ekyo si kyaffe abagisiigamu zabe bakulembeze abaalimu naye nga ffe tulina colors zaffe zetusiiga era nga bwe mbagambye nti KCCA yekkirizibwa tulina ba market masters ne market administrators abateekeddwa okuba nga batuwa ripooti eya buli lunaku okulaba nga obutale tebuliimu byabufuzi era twagoba office zonna ez'ebyobufuzi mu Kampala kyabadde nnyo mu Owino market nakisanzeko e Busega era Owino market office yaabwe twagisiba RDC yagisiba nga tugamba nga bagamba eno ya PLU eno ya NRM twagisiba kubanga situwagala abantu balowooze ti ate obutale tugenda buteekamu byabufuzi obutale bubeera mu byankulaakulana nga bwe batwogera ku miyoga bwe batwogera ku PDM bwe batwogera ku biki sente z'abakyala oba other government programs zetwogerera mu katale ne tukuba olukiiko ne tutambula naye nga situwagala offices zetulinamu twagala zibeere z'abano ba market masters ne ba administrators so si balala mpozi ne security okubanga basobola okugonjoola ensonga ezo ezibeera mu ki obutale naye nsembeyo okubagamba nti leadership yonna ey'obutale yavaawo era tewayakkirizibwa kubanga ye leader w'akatale ako okujjako nga wa KCCA ng'era akola ku lwa KCCA era nga ministry ya gender ne executive director be bali answerable okulaba nga bakola ki nga bamugyamu. Enforcement abo balina numbers kuno, balina pickups ze bavuga nga balinako numbers, mubakuba ebifaananyi mbituwe nga bwe twabagambye offices zaffe nzigule, tureceiving complaints si buli lunaku mutubulye tujja bakwata nga bwe mbage nti already ninayo abantu abandeetedde obuntu obwo era mbeebaza kulaba nga tubajjayo nga tebajja kuddamu kubanga baweereza KCCA. Mwebale nnyo okumpuliriza, mwebale Kampala waffe ffenna, Uganda yaffe ffenna, tugezeeko okulaba nga ffenna twagala Kampala mu kifo ky'okuba nga tunenya bunenya ffenna twenyigire mu kugirongoosa, kubanga bwe lwaki olinnya mu bimuli, lwaki olinnya mu muddo ogusimbiddwa ate nkyogamba nti Kampala mukyafu, lwaki oyiwa kasasiro mu mwala, lwaki ositula kazambi n'omuteeka mu mwala ayitemu, kubanga bitubu mbanyize ndi wa Mukisenyi, bitubu mubiteekako ekiviiri nkuba bwetonnya ne muta bannammwe ne balwala. N'olwekyo ekyo tukimanye nti Kampala waffe ffenna, ate ffenna tukyuse ekirowooza nti KCC ye nannyini Kampala, KCC ya buli Kampala ya buli muntu yenna, aidha oli wa kibiina kyo ba kibiina ki, ffenna Kampala atuvunaanyizibwako. Mwebale mwebalire ddala, Mukama abankuumire.
Another big applause for Honorable Minister and the team. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for your presentation. We are now coming to the end of this session. Maybe I also need to bring to the attention of the person, our former RDC, who raised the issue of color, say that the KCCA colors are green, yellow, and red. So maybe the day you visited there, they could have been painting red, as the others will also come to shade part of the remaining part of the market. Maybe you need to go back again and see whether red is, and even red is the most dominant, I think, in the KCCA colors. So we need to find out whether they have only used red or the other colors have also been applied. So allow me once again to thank you for your usual partnership. Honorable Minister, I have the team I work with here. Maybe it's important I introduce it to you. Mr. Kamjira Fred, the Deputy Director, is here. Mr. Wakoja Richard, the Assistant Director, is here. I don't see my technical teams. Gloria Mwenge, our Principal Administrator, is there. David, our economist, I think they have stepped out for some work. So I now want to officially declare this session closed. I now invite you to rise for the anthems in the reverse order. Honorable Minister, after this, we invite you for the first opportunity just behind here for the record.
Juko.
Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just